Hi, I'm Alison Fennell, the potter and artist. Welcome to this edition of Watercolour Weekender. We'll be doing Tanglenest Teacup, which is a very pretty subject, especially for Easter time. Watercolour Weekender is for you if you want to go a bit more slowly and deeply with your watercolour painting. We'll be studying 3 areas on how to create soft curves on birds' eggs, create twigs and other techniques. You'll have a full reference photo if you buy the paint along pack. First of all, we're going to need to mask out some of those pretty eggs in order to save them to paint them in delicately later. We'll be using a grayscale image to help us get clear on what's mid, light and dark in our image. You'll be seeing me mixing everything in real time and applying it to the paper, so you can follow along easily in the comfort of your own home. We'll also be using a rigger brush to make fine, delicate twigs. So let's get going with putting the dark colour in around those eggs. I'm using burnt umber and French ultramarine blue. You can also use Indan throne blue to make a lovely dark. Then we start breaking up that dark passage and making the twigs form out of the top of it. Then comes the rigger. It really is great for creating these lovely effects. You can also use it if you're painting a wreath as well. The more wiggly you do it, the more of contrast there is between the fine bone china cup below. Using the grayscale images, which you'll get if you buy the paint along pack, you'll be able to really see how punchy those darks need to be in order to push the pale eggs forward. Having a grayscale image is a real boon to learning watercolour. Here we are now adding the final real strong darks in the base of that cup. This adds depth to your composition. And then I use a needle to scrape out some finer twigs. It all adds to the texture. When everything's bone dry, we can safely rub away the masking fluid, and having it bone dry is key, otherwise you can risk tearing the paper. I'll explain all this in the tutorial. So now we look at those lovely lavenders and greens and those pretty little flowers in the bottom of the saucer and the side of the cup. In order to see this tutorial in full, you're invited to click the link in the description below, which will take you to my Buy Me a Coffee shop, where you'll be able to pay just £4 in order to get the full paint along pack with all the images and grayscales and important information that you need. Also, if you've enjoyed this video, I'd really appreciate it if you like it, leave a comment and subscribe to my channel. So we're carrying on now with the tutorial and painting some green wet into wet in both the cup and the saucer as a basis for the foliage in the decorative aspect of this bone china cup. Then we'll be adding some dainty little flecks of mauve and purple to suggest those forget-me-nots that are painted on the porcelain. Here we're just making a suggestion, we don't need to go into too much detail. Now I'm actually painting the curve of that lovely fine handle with a lovely soft grey purple to give it a bit of a shadow underneath. When everything is bone dry in my painting, I like to rub away the pencil lines in order to give it a bit of a more painterly feel. And adding very soft subtle shadows to those eggs really makes them look oval, doesn't it? I'll be showing you this technique in full if you buy the paint along pack, which will give you access to the full tutorial, which is voiced over and in real time. Using controlled wet into wet is the key to painting these lovely eggs. I'm wetting the actual oval shape first with clear water, then dropping in ever stronger shades of purple to create that ovoid shape. Using a thirsty brush, which is a brush that's absorbent, I lift out some very strong highlights on the top left hand side of the eggs to show the light source, and this increases the look of the oval shape on the eggs. Using a thirsty brush can also rub out any areas of paint that you don't want, so it's like an eraser. By going stronger again, I'm going to make the tops of the eggs even lighter, and this contrast is a very useful skill in watercolour, which is notoriously hard to blend. As you can see with the middle egg, I've put it on and the paint isn't spreading as quickly as I'd like. This is because that middle egg has dried a little bit. So the way we can remedy that is by moistening a small brush and giving it a flick so that it's just barely moist, and then going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth through the whole part of the egg to where that hard line has occurred. And because you've wetted the whole of the egg, that dark hard line dissolves now and blends effortlessly and softly away. These kind of techniques will be explained in full in the tutorial. Now let's get into more detail in the florets on the actual china cup. Here I'm painting wet on dry and nothing is bleeding, so we're getting some lovely harder edges on top of some of those floatier, soft edged areas we painted earlier on. Finally, we'll put some more twigs in front of the eggs in order to make them feel nestled in to the base of that pretty cup. This also adds depth to the painting and pushes the eggs backwards. I feel that something's missing on this cup now, and it's the shadow. I need to actually go much stronger with the shadow on the left hand side, and because I work from left to right, I turn my painting, and I hope you'll feel free to position your painting board however suits you. Adding this extra soft grey shadow will really give the cup some three-dimensionality. You can be as detailed as you like, but this tutorial will give you all the essentials you need in order to paint this lovely still life. Just some finishing touches now, like a strong shadow under that very delicate handle. And even softening in such a small space makes all the difference to creating a believable painting. So if this tutorial has whetted your appetite to have a lovely Easter project to continue with, then please click the link in the description below. That'll take you to the shop on my Buy Me a Coffee site, and you can buy the paint along pack there. In the paint along pack you'll have a link in order to upload your work to a gallery with other people who have done the same project, and you'll also get the video links so that you can paint this tutorial in the comfort of your own home. And finally, if you fancy some arty reading, I've got the Pottering Artist magazine available for you. The link is in the description below, and you can browse pages before you actually buy. These are made by me, and I've written them with you in mind as an artist. There are no adverts in them, and all the information is from projects that I've completed myself, and I hope you'll enjoy joining along with me. Thanks for watching. I'm Alison Fennell, the Pottering Artist, and I hopefully look forward to seeing your teacup uploaded to the Google gallery if you just decide to join this project.